So I'm very excited actually to give this presentation. This is something that Filip Novokmet, who's here in the back of the University of Zagreb, and Leo Kukic here in the front, recently of the University of Vienna, and I have been thinking of and working on for quite some time now. One might say even ever since we met as master students, some time ago, when we studied economic history at the LSE back in 2012. So today I'll talk about this new center, so this new initiative for economic history of Southeastern Europe that we are in fact starting at the moment. I will tell you essentially what the initiative is. I will talk briefly about a couple of initiatives that have came before us. Of course, we are not the first to have ever worked or came up with such an idea. And then essentially I will bring up what we identified as the core challenges that economic history of the region is facing, and how we intend to, let's say, bring us closer to resolving this sort of challenges, and what are the kind of ideas and also practical initiatives that we are implementing, and that we hope will promote both research and education or in economic history in the region. So the center is dedicated to advancing both research and, importantly, education in economic history. The mission is, on the one hand, to foster a deeper understanding of the region's economic past, but also, equally importantly, to inspire and educate the next gen of scholars specializing in the economic history of the region. I already mentioned the founding members, so Filip, Leo, and I. We serve as the center's directors. This initiative would not have been possible without the generous support we have received from the Economic History Society. So this is, of course, the Learned Society for Economic History in the UK. And, of course, the initiative is supported by our own home institutions in various shapes and forms, and will be hosted in the region at the University of Zagreb. We're very happy to be able to have this center in Southeast Europe, given that up until recently, all three of us for an extended period of time have been abroad, studying, working, and so on. But now that Filip is back in Zagreb, we have a very good position to make, let's say, Zagreb, the first, so to say, stronghold in new economic history, if you will, in the region. So previous initiatives in the economic history of the region, first we are here at the WEAST meeting. So obviously WEAST is an initiative that, in its core, tries to enable international knowledge transfer and collaboration, which I hope we are all experiencing here today and will experience tomorrow, but also following the workshop with perhaps some papers being written with people that I've met at the workshop going forward, where WEAST has tried to kind of bring together scholars from both the West and the East, broadly defined, but also people that span these different fields, going from essentially hardcore economics all the way to, let's say, traditional economic, but also social and cultural history. We have had, including the meeting that we are having today in Ljubljana, 13 meetings since the first meeting in Belgrade, held as a WEAST meeting in 2014. So we're going strong over 10 years now, more than one meeting per year. Plus, we have been present oftentimes at economic history conferences, so major congresses and conferences all over the world. WEAST, of course, is not the first, let's say, regional initiative that has sprung up to study the past of the region. One, of course, noticeable mention is the Southeast European Monetary History Network, or the SEMI network, that effectively is slightly different from WEAST, in that it focused, I would say, on the monetary history and policy of the region. It was spearheaded by Matthias Morris, of course, set up, if I correctly found information, back in 2006, held annual conferences, and then I believe the efforts kind of culminated in 2014 with this great data volume. So the Southeast European Monetary and Economic Statistics from the 19th century up to the Second World War, that I of course invite you to have a look at. Also, I want to mention an excellent, I would say, landmark volume that was edited again by Matthias Morris. So the volume is titled The Economic History of Central, East and Southeast Europe from 800 to the Present. I'm sure you're all aware of it. What I want to point out is that the initiative had, or the book actually had 24 contributors, myself included. And although I am from Southeast Europe, I was not based neither then nor now in Southeast Europe. So I would say that this is indicative of the kind of challenges that I will talk about in the next slide, where definitely not for a lack of demand from let's say Matthias' side, but I would say from a lack of supply from the region. Simply there weren't economic historians, I would say, that formed a part or contributed to the research to be part of this particular volume. Now, here's the slide that might raise some eyebrows, but I'm here to open up the discussion on these things and speak my truth, as it were. So first a bit on research and then on education. So, research. Little research is published in top economic history journals that specifically deals with economic history of the region. And here, what I mean is, new economic history, climatrics, right? So using economic tools and methods, theory even, to study the economic past, right? So if you look at the 4 top economic history journals, there's a couple of publications that are published per year, probably by people who are here in the room. The other problem is that there are few new researchers appearing on the scene. Of course, there are some exceptions to all of these points that I will make, but by and large, I think that these are, claims that hold. So we're not seeing, new researchers ever since, let's say, I completed my PhD some time ago, except for a couple of, of course, instances. Of course, Magnus Norbert is one example here sitting in the front. If we compare, research output to other developing regions, we have a journal that's also called Economic History of Developing Regions that publishes work, let's say, on Latin America or on Africa. We will see that, the research output has even, I think, fallen further behind as compared to these other regions. Also, we can look at quantitative economic history or new economic history of Russia or the Soviet Union. It's incomparable, the amount of work that we are producing compared to them. Of course, there are different reasons for this, size, structure, and so on. But that, be that as it may, it still is true that research output seems to be falling behind these other regions. In terms of education, I think this is where kind of the core of the problem lies. Well, the region does not really train new economic historians. Okay, why? Well, economic history, even as such, is rarely taught. It is taught at different universities, but this is not really common. And this also holds for either the history or the econ department. Right? So it's not something that we can specifically say is a problem, let's say, on one or the other side. What this results in is that students are not really exposed to economic history, and hence we get hardly any graduate students. So I wouldn't say that economic history as such is not interesting to students. Quite the contrary, I think it has become more interesting and more important, for that matter, than ever before. We have had a couple of Nobel laureates winning prizes in economics, and not only, of course, AJR, as it were, so Acemoglu, Johnson, Robinson recently, but also Claudia Goldin before that, and of course others before that as well. So, as a field, I don't think that that's where the problem lies. The problem lies that, many places in Southeast Europe, broadly defined, simply do not train sufficiently new economic historians. Now, it's easy to play the blame game, say these are the problems. Yeah, that's it. What can we, we can't do anything about it. Well, we actually want to do something about it. And here are ideas and efforts how we can work towards a solution. So one, of course, here umbrella initiative is the Center for Southeast European Economic History. We want to start building capacity from the ground up. So we want to engage with the local research community, right? With researchers that work on economic history of the region, that are prepared to work with international scholars, and of course prepared to look at some numbers. And also we want to reach out to the students at the region and preach them our mission. We hope that this will be sufficient to have them converted to the field. This is of course different from what WEAST does, where WEAST kind of brings together more established researchers like yourselves, whereas here we want to reach out to people who are either young researchers or already only let's say students. So we want to get them interested in economic history. So how do we do this? So first, we will have a new module in economic history at the University of Zagreb that will be taught by no other than Filip Novokmet, which is absolutely amazing. The other initiative is to have an annual summer school in economic history. This might be ambitious as we currently stand here. For now, we have funding for 1 year, so we need to make it annual. We need to get more funding. So if you have any great ideas, tell us. We have a couple, but let's see where this takes us. But for now, I will, in the next, let's say, slide, talk more about the summer school that we're organizing, in fact, in a couple of weeks. And we have built a website where I will, share it with you at the end of this presentation to give you kind of a sneak peek. It is live, but we're still kind of developing it. But to show you that what we have so far, that we have started a working paper series, and invite you to contribute if you like with your papers. So we want to promote research on economic history of the region via this platform. Of course, in the future we will have also a place dedicated to sharing data. If some of you are interested to do so, I know always people say they are, but they don't end up sharing. But eventually, maybe after like 10 years or so, when you're done with it, you can just drop it there. Blog posts. Don't underestimate the power of actually trying to reach a broader audience. Today, yes, we have different media platforms, but also I think that specialized websites like this one can go a long way in transferring your thoughts and your research to a larger audience. Also, it's something that the funders often look for, right? So they ask you, have you written anything, for the layman? So you can say, yes, I wrote a blog post for the Center for Southeast European Economic History. News, if you have anything interesting to share, please try to reach out. Many other ideas that we are working on and will develop in the future. Now, here's some, hard data, hard evidence on what we are doing. So it's not all up in the air. A summer school in economic history that will take place at the University of Zagreb for 3 days, 9th to the 11th of July. To our great surprise and pleasure, we have 30, or even slightly more than that by now, but 30 participants from both the region and across Europe. Okay, so we have people coming in representing institutions, not their nationality or identification or whatever we discussed here, but their institutions from 12 different countries. So, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, but also, interestingly, Austria, Belgium, Czechia, Germany, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Slovakia, and the UK. And for that matter, top institutions like UCL, LSE, there's a UK bias here, but, really great places. What I find particularly noteworthy is that we have a mix of bachelor, master's, and PhD students in the summer school. What we want to achieve with this is to have peer learning we want to see, let's say, third or fourth year, depending from what institution they're coming, but let's say last year bachelor students, learning from master students, but also both of them learning from PhD students, presenting their own work, right? So PhD students will get the opportunity to present and showcase both their research, how this is being done, but also informally over the course of 3 days discuss this with their colleagues, so that their younger colleagues can also learn from them. Of course, PhD students will receive feedback from Leo, Philip, and I, but also importantly from our keynote lecturer, who is Max Schulze, professor of economic history from the London School of Economics. Now, we're not making any money off of this, of course, neither we nor our institutions, so we're not charging any fee. In fact, with the generous support from the Economic History Society and other funds, we are providing accommodation for all of the participants, right? So, this is not something that we are doing, let's say, with an economic motivation, but rather, let's say, an academic one. All right, I have not that much time left. So I just want to, maybe if we can share this so that people on Zoom also see. I want to show you quickly the website. So the website domain is quite easy to remember. It's economic-history.org. Thank you. So I won't, guide you through all of this. I just want to show you that, the website is live. It's up and running. There's our mission, founding members, upcoming events, and so on. On the people page, of course, you see, us, but also, and perhaps more importantly, our fantastic scientific council that includes some people here in the room and other prominent figures in economic history that were, kind enough to lend their support and also guidance in the kind of mission that we are following with this initiative. To go back, so with research, here we have listed some publications. This is also work in progress. If I haven't listed your paper, I'm sorry, but just email me and I'll add it. But we want to have kind of a basis of a lot of relevant references that people can find in one place, not to have to go on all our different websites, and be able to reference the literature and hopefully learn from it. Here are the working paper series that we just started. I only put up my own working paper, but we have more in the making, and I'm hoping to receive more from you in the future. Education is about the summer school. We will add videos from the and notes and the program from the summer school, so it will be kind of an open source resource for learning about economic history of the region, news, and then a blog post. Well, here's one again. Anyway, my co-authors, my colleagues are quite busy, but I'm sure they will be writing the blogs in the future. And that's pretty much it. We're enthusiastic about it, and we hope that it will provide a public good, as it were, and that in any shape or form that you wish to participate or help out or share the good word, please do. Thank you.
I'm happy to have questions now, maybe. It might be easiest while it's still live and hot.
Sure.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thanks for this. It's fantastic, of course, and I had no idea what you were up to. But you're already doing a lot. But just one sort of additional sort of area is sort of the dissemination of these ideas in the countries themselves. Because maybe I'm talking too much from a Serbian perspective, but it seems that the Serbian a national narrative still dominates, and it would be nice if this type of work is sees more light in Serbia itself. I mean, at the moment, even when a couple of nice books have come out, it doesn't really get out there. You know, so for this to be a little bit more effective in the countries themselves, you know, I don't have any suggestions, you know, but at the moment, but it seems that that should be a goal as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. That well, maybe not, you know, the ultimate goal or a primary one, but we hope that you know, through, I guess, reaching out, you know, to such a platform, maybe sharing some of the research, you know, via blogs or with some, you know, media that we think are credible enough, we can get the word across. That is certainly possible. You know, some of us have been present in local media before. It's not that this hasn't happened. But, you know, that said, I can tell you how many invited presentations I've given in Serbia. 0. So, you know, I don't know, maybe there's not really demand for what we're doing, or there might be some other, you know, reason that I'm maybe not, or maybe I am aware of, but yeah, we can talk about it in a different time.
There was a WEAST conference in Belgrade.
That's true, but you know, I invited myself to that one because I organized it, so that doesn't count.
Any more questions?
Maybe just in a year, maybe, I mean, if you want to, or if you have a blog to reach the layman, maybe it's worth to translate it in languages that are, like, I'm not sure like, how many Serbian laymen read English text.
Sure. No, I forgot to mention, that's definitely something that we will do, of course, and translate it to, you know, each and every language in the region.
I mean, in the best case, but I mean, if you have like a blog on Serbia, maybe it's sufficient.
We'll do it.
It's a very general question. What's your maximalist definition of Southeastern Europe?
I wanted to ask that question, but held myself back. I didn't want to stir the pot, but...
So I thought of starting with this, but then I figured somebody will ask, so I leave it until the end, you know? Because I've already had these discussions at this very conference about, you know, how do we define borders in Europe or Eastern Europe for that matter. It's very hard. On this question, you know, I say that the, you know, ball is in your court, so to say. You know, we are open to however you want to identify, you know, yourself and your research, right? If you think that your research falls within, you know, the region of Southeast Europe, you're very welcome, right? So we don't want to put any, you know, hard borders in place here.
All right, and Clemens, I think you had a...
It was a suggestion or a comment. I was just looking at what kind of, for the financing of the summer school, what kind of corporations there are, for instance, from the University of Vienna. I haven't found anything for Zagreb, but there is this Erasmus Plus integrated teaching projects where 3 universities, I don't know whether you have seen it, where 3 universities can team up and basically teach one course together. With on-site, with hybrid, in a hybrid model. And then I think there's also one place where all students come together from all of the 3 universities. So this might be a very nice way of, of teaming up people from different countries.
Thank you, Clemens. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. We'll definitely talk about it. Thank you.
I mean, maybe one comment for myself. So something that with our Irish Centre, we've done a lot of which we found worked very well is podcasts or short videos, right? Because nobody reads blogs anymore, right? That's like 2000s, right? And you know, the cost of producing videos and you know has come down dramatically. So, and it's also easier to reach, you know, whatever TikTok generation, etc. Because I guess if you're looking at the pipeline of early career scholars, you do want to kind of reach out there as well.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be doing that as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, to begin with, as I mentioned, we'll start with, you know, posting. Well, these are going to be longer lectures from the summer school, but of course, like short videos, maybe like up to 1 minute, with everything you ever wanted to learn about the region. We'll do that.
So what we've done, like for the Centre, we've collaborated with Cage in this case, where we've like short 1.5 to 2 minute videos where, you know, even more complex papers, you know, the Irish famine or things like that, can be condensed in a video with a little bit of shock and awe effect and that kind of stuff. But it seems to work. Like people watch this stuff. So
we'll make great videos.
Historical costumes.
Yes. I mean, if you go onto the website, like the first thing you see is a big swastika. I think, oh God, what is this? Like, but so we had the British guy doing this, and of course, if you ask to do about history, there needs to be a swastika. Yeah. Any final short question? Great, perfect. Thank you, Stefan.